Good morning and welcome back to another art lesson. Today we are going to continue with our winter theme. So what we are going to do today is we are going to be creating a landscape out of Christmas trees. Now you can make these look like just wintry trees, or you can make them look like decorated trees. It's up to you. So what we're going to do is in the middle of our paper, we're going to start with a simple triangle. And I want this first tree to be really big. So it's going to fill up most of that center space. So there is my first triangle. Then I'm going to add a smaller triangle. This is going to be a tree that is a little bit further away. If it's close to the viewer, which is your audience who is looking at your drawing, this Christmas tree in the front, it's much larger. So it's going to look like it's close to the viewer. This Christmas tree is much further away. So we're going to draw it smaller. So I'm just going to continue with my trees. They can also overlap if you choose. So those two overlap. That's when one shape goes on top of another. There we go. Okay, once you have all of your triangles done, then we are going to add a rectangle to the bottom. So it looks like the stump to your tree. There we go. Okay, the next thing we want to do is add a horizon line. The horizon line is going to go behind your trees. So you need to find the tree that is furthest away, and your horizon line needs to go behind that tree. Because if it doesn't, it's going to look like that tree is floating in the sky. Now, I want this to look kind of like a snowy ground. Maybe there's a few little pieces of grass showing through. So I'm just adding a few little wiggly lines so it looks like the snow drifts. And then maybe in my background, I want to add like a sun or clouds. It's your choice. So I'm going to add a sun that's like setting. So it's almost like a half circle. And then maybe I'm just going to add a few clouds. If you want this to look like a nighttime sky, that's fine too. That's your choice. Maybe you want to do a few snowflakes that are falling. Sorry, I've got kind of like a glare here on my table. I'll try and move it around so that glare goes away. Okay, once you have your background done and you've got your snowflakes falling, then you can go ahead and you can either decorate your trees so they look kind of like Christmas trees by adding like ribbon and little ornaments. It's up to you what you do. If you just want them to look like regular trees, you could get kind of fancy and draw like a straight line that goes down and then like an upside down V. You can make them look kind of fancy this way too. Okay, so you're going to finish decorating your trees and then you're going to take a black marker. If you don't have a black marker, you could use a black crayon or you could use a black colored pencil, and you're just going to very carefully trace over your pencil lines. And if you made any mistakes with your pencil, you can always go back in and erase. And there's lots of different ways that you could decorate your trees. Show me some creative ideas. It's your choice on what you add. Maybe you want to add a star. Maybe you want to add some like strands of like cranberries, so it could look something like this. It's totally up to you. Your choice. So I'm just going to continue tracing until everything is done. If you have any pencil lines that are showing through, you can go in at the very end and erase them. And I'm just going to trace my horizon line. Some of those little snowdrifts. Got my sun. Now I'm not going to trace my snowflakes because I am actually going to trace those with some different blues. So I'm going to take my blue marker, and you could do this with a blue crayon too. You would just press down a little harder. And I have a couple different blues, so maybe I'm gonna use some of those as well, just to make it look a little bit more interesting. Spread out some of those colors. I'm gonna trace those clouds. Remember, clouds stay white, so those will not be colored in. So they're gonna stay white. If you want some of your little grass pieces to be sticking out, you could use a green marker to have that come through. Okay, so let's just pretend that I have everything traced. Everything's decorated. Now I'm ready for the coloring stage. So I'm going to get out my crayons, and I'm just going to start coloring in some of those fun details on my tree. If you want to use marker for some of those smaller details, that's fine. That's up to you, whatever you have available to you. Okay, and then maybe I'm going to start coloring in my tree, and I'm going to use two different greens. I'm going to use my regular green, but I'm also going to use my lighter green, and I'm going to layer up those colors. So I'm going to start with the lighter green. I know you can't really see it that well. Here, I'll kind of hold it up a little bit so you can see. And then I'm going to take my darker green and just kind of color on top of it. So you're going to see both greens showing through. And then don't forget the stump. So I'm going to find my brown, and color that in. Now for this tree, you can do the same thing. You can layer in your light green and your dark green, or if you wanted to get kind of fancy with it, you could do a pattern. So I could do like my light green, and then I could layer in that darker green. So it's going to create like a striped pattern, which is cool too. So it's completely up to you how you want your trees to look. Once you're done with the trees, you have all of them colored in, then we're going to start working on our sky. Now remember, the clouds are going to stay white. The sky, I'm going to layer in a couple colors. I'm going to do like a sky blue first. Roll that in. Now I'm leaving some parts white so I can add in maybe like a darker blue. And just layer in some of those colors. If you want to add a little bit of purple, that's fine too. Purple will kind of give it like an icy feeling. So it's up to you what colors you use for the sky. Maybe you want it to be a nighttime sky. Maybe you don't have a sun at all. That is up to you. Okay, now I still have a glare here. So you can kind of see it. Is that a little bit better? There you go, that's better. Okay, and then I'm going to use, for my sun, some yellow. A little bit of yellow. And a little bit of orange. Just layering in those colors. And then maybe a teeny tiny bit of red. Just a little bit. So again, you can kind of see that I've layered in some of those colors. Now for your snowy ground, you can just leave that white. Or if you want to get a little bit fancy, you could take that light blue and you could just kind of color in a little bit under those snowy lines. If you have gray, you could also use a teeny tiny bit of gray. That's your choice. Okay, I'll kind of hold it up here so you can see. There we go. So you are creating a winter landscape using triangles as trees. Then you are decorating your trees however you would like, creating a background and coloring everything in. Once you have this project completed, please take a photo of it, upload it into your Seesaw journal, and I will take a look at it and approve it. All right, I will talk to you guys soon. Have fun creating your winter Christmas tree landscapes.